Hey everyone, it's your girl Sanj. Y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Y'all, today's video I'm super excited about. I've been wanting to do this one for a while, which is to talk about things that I wish I knew before I started my lock journey, things that I wish I knew before getting starter locks. And as some of you may know, if you've been here before, I started my lock journey in October of 2020. This video is filmed in June of 2021. So we're not quite at a year, almost at a year, got a couple more months left. But it has been such a beautiful time. If you've seen any of my other videos, you can see like how they honestly look different right now than they did when I first started. Even after just a little over 6 months, like they're really blossoming. Give them a little shout out here. Really blossoming, and the journey has been so beautiful thus far. So I wanted to share some things that kind of retrospectively I didn't know, but some have been pleasant surprises, some have been learning curves, but I'm gonna share it all with you. And so if you have not subscribed yet, go on and hit that young subscribe button, okay? And we'll go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing that I wish I knew before getting starter locks or starting my lock journey is that locks are low maintenance, but they're not no maintenance. And this may seem intuitive, but honestly, even though I had done a lot of YouTube research, a lot of research on Google of other people's lock journeys, it seemed low-key no maintenance to me, like especially compared to having loose natural hair, which I did for 5 years before getting locked. So yeah, I was like, okay, this is cool, you know, no more having to wash my hair every week, which I was doing with loose natural hair. No more really, you know, having to focus on moisturization. I kind of was thinking it would be more no maintenance, but let me tell y'all, that ain't the case. Okay, it definitely is a lower maintenance hair lifestyle. However, you gotta wash, still gotta wash regularly. You gotta moisturize, still gotta do that regularly, both the hair shafts itself and also your scalp to keep that healthy. And so I will say that I spend less time on wash day and just overall moisturization and maintenance than I did with loose natural, but it's definitely not no maintenance. And some of you, I also do have a loctician. I do my own retwist sometimes, and then sometimes I go to her. She's amazing. That is about every 2, sometimes 3 months or so, in terms of going to her. So that is an element of maintenance. But there are definitely different ways of approaching this on your lock journey. Some folks, they like the super manicured look, so they have, you know, their retwist on lock every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. Some people have more of a free-form style journey where they're not really worried about it. They're not really, you know, don't care too much about having their parts showing and whatnot, so that might be a little lower maintenance. But regardless of like where you are on that spectrum, you still have to moisturize, y'all, your scalp and your hair to keep it healthy. So just want to put that out there for anybody who's looking for like no maintenance. Locks, they're gonna need maintenance, especially as they grow. So just be willing to put in that work. The next thing that I wish I knew before starting locks is that I would feel gorgeous, like I would feel really beautiful with them. And for some reason, y'all, like I always thought they looked beautiful on other people. I had seen a lot of men with locks, less women with locks in just kind of my community in terms of in person, but I always thought they were beautiful, but I definitely underestimated how beautiful I would feel with them, because I felt super beautiful, you know, with my afro. I just love wearing my natural hair. And so with locks, I was like, okay, you know, I thought maybe I might look a little less feminine. Like, I didn't really know, you know, but I was down for whatever it was. But y'all, I feel gorgeous. I feel like myself. And that's something that I couldn't have predicted. So I would say, if you're somebody who is struggling with trying to figure out, you know, what you're gonna look like, or if you're gonna like it, like, one, this is a natural hairstyle. Your hair can do it naturally. It is beautiful. And so know that part of the journey, right? Like, there's a confidence walk that comes alongside of it. And when you really embrace yourself with locks, the looks, for however long you're trying to do it, a season or a lifetime, I believe, and this is, you know, going out to my women in particular, that you can truly feel like really, really gorgeous as your most natural self. On a similar vein to the last one, another thing that I wish I had knew before starting starter locks, that I didn't know and that I kind of underestimated, was that other people would think they were beautiful too. And y'all, that might seem silly, like, okay, why wouldn't you think that? It's because there's a lot of negativity out there around locks. Sometimes from other folks in the community, you know, they may say things like, oh, you know, I could never wear my hair like that, or, oh, you know, I work in corporate, so yeah, I can't do that. But there's always kind of this insinuation that there's something negative or wrong with wearing your hair in locks, which is not true. So I was kind of prepared for that going into my journey, where I was like, I'm doing this because I want to. I'm not really asking anybody else's opinion about it. My husband was super supportive. He has locks too, as a lot of y'all know. But yeah, I kind of had this almost defense up of like, I'm wearing locks. This is my own thing. Don't care what anybody says, which is cool. And I think you definitely need to have that attitude. But on the flip side, y'all, I've gotten a lot of supportive commentary from folks in the lock community, folks outside of the lock community, folks at church. And whenever I get a compliment, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I always feel a little bit surprised, even though I probably shouldn't be surprised, because, you know, they're beautiful. I compliment other people with locks, and, you know, just people in general. But I say that to say, like, don't buy into the whole, if you have locks, everybody's gonna think that you're XYZ way or whatever. Like, it's actually not true, and my experience has been contrary. Now, one, be warned, there is some of that, and you may experience some of that, so you kind of just got to like brush it off. But there are people who think it's beautiful and respect you for doing it, and who will affirm you. So yeah, definitely wish I would have knew that, because I don't know that I would have done it sooner, but it feels good. So another thing that I wish I knew before starting locks is that you can't predict what your locks are gonna look like. And y'all, I had watched plenty of YouTube videos. I knew this in theory, but I still would look for pictures of women who either were like a similar skin tone as me or seemed like they had a similar texture to try to envision what I would look like. And I don't look anything like them now that, you know, they're starting to mature, and I'm still young in my process. So there's lots more maturation to come. So that's something, like, even if you have your Pinterest boards, you have your favorite, you know, lock YouTubers, it's wonderful, and lock inspiration is real. Don't get caught up in lock envy though, because everybody's journey is different, and genuinely, like, they look different on every single person, and that's part of the beauty of it, because it's your set. People have different like parting patterns. People have different textures in general. People have different numbers of locks. People have different lengths of hair, and it grows at different speeds. So I say this one, I thought I knew, and I was still open to whatever I would look like. But for anybody who's kind of on the fence, know that you can't predict it, but just trust that it will be beautiful, because it will be. It will be. The fifth thing that I wish I knew before getting starter locks is that my scalp needs super intentional care. And this kind of goes back to the first thing where I was saying, like, I kind of thought locks were super low maintenance, which they can be, especially comparatively. But y'all, like, the scalp, I can't emphasize enough how important scalp care and scalp health is to the health of your locks overall and your hair overall, even if you're not locked. It makes a big difference. And so when I say intentional maintenance, I meant like low-key as opposed to doing things for my hair, which I still do. I do a lot of things for my scalp just to keep it happy, because you have more scalp exposed than you do when your hair is loose natural. If you've got any parts showing, if you out here, y'all know I live in Arizona, it is hot, okay? So you know there's heat coming on it, so your scalp needs a lot of love. This is something that I didn't know. Now it's cool, like I take pleasure in it. It's nothing too crazy. For me, mostly it looks like using coconut oil on my parts. Admittedly, I don't do it as often as I should. I'd recommend oiling your scalp every other day, maybe every 3 days if you can get a little bit longer, but you definitely need regular moisturization, massaging your scalp. This is also going to help with dandruff, because y'all, the dandruff is real, especially with starter locks. I have had a lot of dandruff. Hasn't been a fun time, but the more that I pay attention to my scalp and I stay on top of my moisturization routine, the less dandruff I have and the more I just don't notice it. Because truth is, like, you don't really want to have to think about your scalp, because if you do, it means it's probably itching or it's uncomfortable or it's hot. So when you're kind of like really actively taking care of it, then you don't have to think about it, and that is the goal. The 6th thing that I wish I knew before I started locks is that they don't automatically invoke workplace discrimination. And y'all, I bring this one up because, similar to what I was saying about the look and kind of how I anticipated people not liking them, I did the same around the workplace. And that's because there's valid reason for it, right? Like, there definitely can be discrimination general at, you know, for Black people, people of color in the office. Then you add on a natural hairstyle, that some people you know, associate with different things. Then, you know, that can add some layers to potential oppression there. But I wish I knew not to lead with that, because it's not always the case. And it's one of those things where definitely, like, you gotta be confident in your decision. Like, nobody has a right to tell you how you can and can't wear your hair, even at work. Has nothing to do with your level of professionalism, who you are. You know, like, it's your hair. And we completely deserve to be able to show up as our full selves at work. I say that to say, I wish that I didn't assume negative intent, and instead was open to, like, if there was some negativity, okay, I would know where that was coming from and could address that if necessary. But also that I'd be open to the fact that they would be embraced in the workplace and wouldn't really have an effect. Personally, that has been my experience. Y'all know I don't necessarily consider my job super corporate. I've been in the marketing agencies world, which are more expressive spaces. Currently, I work for a content marketing company. So I think marketing in general as a profession, especially outside of brand marketing, is more expressive, and it's more expressive people. But I haven't felt like my locks have held me back in any way. I haven't had nobody looking at me crazy. And truthfully, if folks feel a type of way, it's not my problem. It's really not my problem. So I would just affirm that to anybody who's concerned about that, whether you're in corporate, whether you're like, oh, I think they're cool, but I don't want people to look down on me, or I don't want, you know, to not get a promotion. One, if that's the case, you can sue, okay? Like, workplace discrimination is no joke. Two, again, like, you have the right to show up and be beautiful and be yourself in all parts of the world. Take up space, and take up that space in your workplace. And yeah, I felt there's a couple other women of color, Black women in particular, at my office who wear natural hairstyles, so that's been super cool. But I think, you know, the more people who do it, the more we can eliminate that of even being a factor, you know, for people when they're deciding whether or not to get locks. The last thing that I wish I knew before I started starter locks is that I can take care of them and maintain them myself. And so y'all might be like, okay, Sanj, that's obvious. Like, a lot of people do that. True, but I felt scared that, okay, if I try to do it myself, I'm gonna do it wrong. I might not pre-twist it wrong. I might do it wrong. Emphasis on the do it wrong part, and have, you know, it not lock correctly. Like, I just had all these fears that in the starter lock phase, especially if I tried to do it myself, I would mess things up. Y'all, it's not true. I do choose to have a team. Like I mentioned, I have a loctician that I see every couple months. I also do my own maintenance in the meantime and do my own retwists at times too. So I choose to kind of have both, but doing the retwist on my own and the care, it's really been affirming that, you know, I can do this on my own. And I think that really goes back to just trusting that you can take care of your own hair, and that if you don't know how to do something, you can learn, right? Like, God gave us these beautiful heads of hair. I don't believe that, you know, he gave them to us to be a chore or to be something that, you know, we have to shell out hundreds of dollars to get quote unquote tamed. Like, no, it's beautiful. We can learn how to take care of it in a way that works for us. And you don't need professional help. Personally, I would recommend it, especially at the beginning, because you can kind of watch what they do. You can get insight. Again, there's YouTube, there's lots of other resources. So I recommend using all your resources, especially until you get to a place of confidence in being able to take care of it yourself. But it's always great to know that that's an option should you ever need it. And with that, y'all, there's lots more that I could share, but those are the main ones. I've loved this journey so far. I'm looking forward to my 1 year, and I thank y'all for coming alongside me on it. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I know I've owed you a lock video for a while because my past couple ones haven't been lock related. So I got you on the lock front for those of you who subscribe for that reason. And if you have not subscribed, go on and do that now, and we'll see you next time.